All right, guys. So I was sitting here waiting for an order to come in. I'm doing my side gig today. And this police officer pulled up to a little taco stand and he walked around the front. And I thought, oh, he's getting lunch or whatever. Then he walked back around. He got on his radio. And then he walked over to this homeless person behind the taco shop and pulled out his notepad and started writing information down. Well, I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I should be recording this. So I walked across with my camera for accountability purposes and began recording him. Now, the reason I'm the distance away is because that's a driveway that I'm standing behind there. And I didn't want to stand in the middle of that because there are people that drive through there to try to get the park for tacos, or they cut through right there. So I didn't want to block traffic. But right now he's talking to her. He's running her information. And she gets really upset while he's doing this. And she actually started crying. She put her, as you'll see in a moment, she's going to put her head down in her hands. And she's just very upset. And she was explaining that she had not been able, because she's homeless. She said, I wasn't able to get to my court date. And so I missed it. And I was trying to get it taken care of. And I got arrested again on the failure to appear warrant. And she said they gave me another court date. They said, just go on this date and take care of it. She said, but I got arrested a second time before that court date came up. And they said, well, you have a failure to appear, and gave her another warrant for failure to appear. That's according to her. So she's asking him, how do I get another warrant for failure to appear when my court date haven't even come up yet? And then she did point out that I was recording. I think she was upset by that. I did say something to her as I was leaving, not on camera, but I said, this was for your security, this camera. And she said, thank you very much. So she was okay with it after I had left. But there's a sergeant that's going to pull up here, and I'm going to walk around the other side and get closer in just a moment. Why I didn't think about it, I don't know. But before I do that, I just wanted to also throw in something here. I've got a few comments of people about my, law school. And someone said, where'd you get your law school? The Cayman Islands? That's funny, actually. Someone else said, well, he's out there cop watching, so obviously he's not an active lawyer. He must be, living with mom, chasing ambulances or something. The thing is, when I was in the Army, I didn't know if I wanted to be a law enforcement officer, because I really wanted to be a cop ever since I was a kid. Now I'm disenfranchised but disenchanted, whatever. But while I was in the Army, I thought, you know what, I'd like to be a lawyer maybe. Maybe I could be like a defense lawyer or something. And so I went and I attended the University of Maryland and the University of Phoenix and Central Texas College, because those were the schools that offered courses at night. I was in the Army, obviously. I couldn't go to school full time. So when I would get off work, during the week, I would go to one of my classes at night. I did extensively study law. I got a certificate as a paralegal. So it's probably expired by now, but I was a state certified paralegal. I just never followed through with it. But I did extensively study law and court procedures and law enforcement technology. And again, I got certified as a paralegal because I didn't know. I was kind of like a ship at sea, and I didn't really know where I wanted to put my ship into port. Do I want to be a cop? Do I want to be a lawyer? I kind of thought, hey, I'd like to be an actor. That would be cool, to be a movie star or whatever. Yeah, I got into that. I did theater in high school. So I was kind of a ship at sea, just kind of, floating around the ocean with my cargo, not knowing where I wanted to set port. I didn't know what I wanted to do as a career. So I never took the bar. I never really finished law school. In other words, I didn't get as far to do my bachelor's because you have to do this composition paper and so forth. You know, you have to do certain things to get your bachelor's, and I never followed through on that. But I did take a lot of courses, a lot. I mean, if you put it all together over 15 years in the Army, I probably took 3 or 4 years, close to 4 years of college and university with law and so forth. Anyway, I digress. So now I'm on the other side. I've crossed over. You see the sergeant standing back there on the other side of the police officer. And she's really upset now. She's again explaining, hey, how can I get to court? I'm homeless. I tried to make it. I missed the date. They arrested me. Or she said, yeah, they arrested me on a warrant, gave me another court date. And then she said, and then they arrested me before that other court date came up because some officer ran my stuff and said, you have a warrant. Said, yeah, I have a court date coming up. Right, but you still have this open warrant. She was explaining to this cop. So I don't know. Maybe it sounds, according to her, as if she's being harassed, you know. Some people will say, well, she committed a crime, dude. Do the crime, do the time. I get all that. But I don't know. It's kind of a slippery slope. You know, if she did commit a crime, okay, she has to pay for that. You do. You have to pay for crimes you commit. We do have to all be held responsible and accountable. But, you know, if she's telling the truth, then, yeah, they arrested her before her court date and said, well, you still have an open warrant. Well, yeah, but I was given a court date. Why not wait, you know? What's going to happen here, and I'm going to cut it, well, I'll cut it in a minute here, but what's going to happen is the sergeant over here is going to explain something to her. Let me just jump to that. So meanwhile, back at the ranch, they've been talking for quite a while. The sergeant, or the officer here, he was explaining that she had a warrant and, you know, she has to go in. But the sergeant over there, he explained to her, look, there's a bus right out here. The bus takes you over to San Bernardino in front of the courthouse, and you can go into the courthouse and get a court date. They're not going to arrest you. They're going to give you an actual court date, and then you just take the bus to get to the court then. She was smoking, so if she has money for cigarettes, she's got money she could use for the bus. But that's what the sergeant tells her. So they end up not arresting her. Instead, they tell her, look, just take the bus, go over to San Bernardino where the court is at. You can leave the bus stop, you walk right into the courthouse, they were telling her, and you'll be good to go. And then they both leave. And I walk past her and I say, this was for your security that I had a camera. And she said, thank you very much. And that's it. So end of story. She didn't go to jail, thank God. She gets to go on with her day. And again, to end this, all she was doing was minding her business. She was sitting on a bench, minding her business. And there are people that are going to say, well, she had a warrant, you know. How did the cop know that? Does he check everybody that sits on a bench to see if they have a warrant? Well, we got a call about her. What, sitting on a bench minding her business? I don't know. This one's fishy.